I got a sidebar from our catch interception conversation here. Who is this guy first? Hold on a second. Apparently, and I saw Span Saturday night, the Squadron game. I should have asked him about this. I didn't know. Apparently, there's a weather model that's showing 12 inches of snow in North Alabama and Central Tennessee next week.
12?
Maybe.
Well, there's no maybe.
Is
there 12 inches of snow or not?
Maybe.
You sound like the weatherman. Are we getting it or not? And how far south is it going to come? I haven't heard anything about this until just now.
Come on.
You've heard about this?
No, I've heard nothing of it, but I'm in.
All right, before we move on to more college football, we do want to hear your, I guess, reasoning that this catch interception in the Denver game should have been ruled an interception. The floor is yours, Greg.
Wait, so first of all, so you're talking about the Denver game where it's down on the ground and it gets popped out. Or are we talking about a different catch?
I don't think the ball popped out. It's the ball looked to be almost caught. Defender rolls down with receiver. They roll on the ground together. Defender comes up with ball. Interception or reception.
So I think, and everyone's saying, well, Cooks is hurt or whatnot, all this other stuff. And as he's going to the ground, you have to survive the ground. If you determine that he is catching the ball in an upright position, then he doesn't have to survive the ground. I think we can all agree that he was going to the ground when he tried to make the catch, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Can confirm.
Okay, so therefore, it is something that has to be controlled and possessed throughout. He was not down by contact prior to the ball being actually wrestled from him. It was an interception, for sure. And I don't see how anyone can really push back on that unless you were, for whatever reason, able to determine that he was upright in the process of beginning the catch.
All right, I think you're confused with what we said going to break of was the ball caught at all. So you're saying it should have been interception.
Oh, I thought it
was ruled a reception.
I thought you were saying catch.
No,
it was not ruled a reception. It was ruled an interception. Unless we're talking about a different catch.
Damien, what are we talking about?
It was ruled an interception.
Correct.
Yes.
What did I say? Ruled reception?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, interception.
Yes.
The interception was allowed. A lot of confusion there. But
by the way, is anyone else kind of amazed at how all the attention is going to the catch, no catch, the officiating, all this other stuff, when in reality the focus should be on the former MVP missing that throw by 10 yards, underthrowing a deep ball that gets intercepted by 15 yards, fumbling at the end of half when he's running around like a crazy person, giving them 3 points. To me, there's way too much attention and blame being placed on the refs for officiating it, not officiating it properly, and not nearly enough attention being put on Josh Allen, who did not play well.
I think
really poorly.
I think more simply, you play it out of Patrick Mahomes is out of the playoffs, and this is your path to the Super Bowl, and you still can't find a way to make it. On top of, like you said, Greg, some rough throws, some poor decisions, and this is where the gate should have opened, and you should have been strolling into the Super Bowl, and you weren't able to do it. That is the one I think people are probably going to look at and say, all right, what is this moving forward? But some tough throws.
They still had to go on the road in the postseason. It's not like Denver was favored. It's not like it was this massive. Oh gosh, the path is so easy for the Bills. They're a flawed football team. They have very few quality receivers right now. Keon Coleman, I thought, actually had a pretty decent day. Shakir's a good, solid piece, but he's not number one. They've had so many guys beat up. I just don't feel like I don't know. I think the whole Mahomes is out of the playoffs, this should be your easiest path. I feel like that's a little bit of a low-hanging fruit argument. My issue is that Josh Allen, on a day that would require him to be at his best, played about a D-plus game, and that's being generous. With some of the throws that were missed, some of the decisions that were made, some of the ball security that flat-out gifted points to the opposition, being and playing at the end of half situation they're in a single high defense, and you get a third-string safety lined up on Lil Jordan Humphrey, when all you got to do is play 2 shell, play 2 high safeties, keep it all in front of you. They got notes you're going to give up 3, all right? You've conceded 3 at that point. They're already on the plus 30-yard line. So you've conceded 3. Just don't give up the touchdown with 31 seconds left. Like, what are we doing? Like, just make them check it down. I mean, if nothing else, I mean, I think there are some egregious mistakes in that game. And I felt like after the fact, and I've watched it, it probably doesn't help that I watched it with 7 Bills fans. A lot of the focus is on the officiating. Oh, the pass interference at they shouldn't have called that. Let them play. Swallow your whistle at that point. It's like, how about the one they didn't call on number 47 that was blatant, but they called it on the next 2 plays? I don't know, man. I was a little bit frustrated by the amount of attention that was being directed in places it shouldn't have been directed. Like, you have a top 3 quarterback in the league at worst. Josh Allen is amazing, and he played terrible in that game. And that's why they lost. That's what we need to focus on. Unfortunately, I hate it. I don't want to blame the quarterback, but postseason's about quarterback play, and he did not play well enough to win.
It's fair, and I don't think a lot of people would push back on it, and I think most of us would agree that there hasn't been a ton of discussion headed that way. I do want to switch the discussion over to tonight's matchup for the national championship, Miami and Indiana, what it would mean for both, what it would mean for college football. Does it help direct anything moving forward with some of the decisions that may be made as to how many teams are going to continue to compete in a tournament for the national championship? But first, I'll tell you, if you're feeling on edge, lacking sleep, lacking energy, you need to go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. They can help you. If you're suffering from any of those, if you feel like you got a little bit of extra weight on over the holidays, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you. Just go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. Sign up for that free consultation, free PSA test, free testosterone test. That's what they're going to do for you, and then let you know where your baseline health is. They'll present all their options to you right then, right there. You can save 10% on any of those options by mentioning Mac and Cube when you walk in the front door. GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. You receive that no-charge consultation. You're going to go in. Minimal upfront cost from the programs they offer is what's going to separate them from other folks in town. Holistic approach to health and wellness. They just want to help you feel better. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Sign up today. See what they can do for you. They've helped many Jocks listeners get back to feeling their best. All right, tonight, Indiana. Fernando Mendoza goes back to Miami where he was not offered a scholarship, attended Miami Hurricane football camps growing up as a kid, wanted to be a part of that program, could not be. He directs this Indiana offense tonight, Greg, one that has tremendous balance, one that has probably better playmakers than holistically they get credit for because they're not going to have the gaudy numbers that a lot of other guys do. But that balance to me is what's going to be key. I view this as how destructive, how disruptive can the Miami front be playing light? And by playing light, people are going to hear that think, oh, well, they have 240-pounders. No. They play fewer numbers and get away with it as good or better than anybody I've seen this year. Can Miami live that way? I think that's the biggest question mark from that defensive team's standpoint tonight. Now, we want to talk coverage. Are they going to be able to handle some of the Indiana receivers? Are they going to be able to handle portions of that passing game, the accuracy of Mendoza? When you add that help, I think it changes that dynamic just a little bit. So how do you view just the front 4, 5, 6, 7, however they add, subtract from that against Indiana's run game tonight?
Well, I think the biggest key is stopping the run with their front 4. I think that is enormous in this game. And I don't think it'll be easy. You know what I mean? I don't think it'll be easy at all, but I remember talking to a bunch of defense coordinators throughout the season. Like, it was we had actually a really nice conversation with DJ Durkin about it. It's like, man, you know what we don't spend enough time talking about anymore? Stopping the run with your front 4. Like, the passing games have gotten so good nowadays. Like, you got to attribute as many resources to the passing attack as humanly possible, especially against a quality quarterback like you got in Mendoza. So if they can stop the run without having to apply additional resources to the box to stop the run, that is gigantic. And I don't know if you can do it. I'm not going to lie. I think it's going to be very hard to stop with the front 4. But if there is a team in college football that can do it, it might be Miami. And it starts with Justin Scott, the D tackle, who's a big, heavy, run-fitting body up front who can two-gap you. Bain is, of course, super violent. Mesidor can penetrate. Like, I think they have to stop the run with the front 4 because I do not like their secondary on islands. You're without one of your corners who's out for the first half of the targeting. OJ Frederick, your other starting corner, who I think is a solid player. I don't think he's like a game changer. He played 6 snaps against Ole Miss. Like I don't know about you, Cole. Like I'm real concerned about their secondary holding up against these wideouts. So if they can attribute 7 to the passing attack and stop the run with the front 4, that'll give them a great shot.
Well, and I don't know about you, but when you have that concern, generally, I become more concerned with guys who are great route runners, understand space, can make contested catches, because those are the ones that become, in my opinion, even more problematic. Also, let's throw in a quarterback that's beyond accurate. I think a lot of people get concerned about, the jump ball guys and the super speedsters down the field. Like those aren't the ones that I become increasingly concerned about when you have matchup problems, because when you have these matchup problems, it offers consistency. It offers the ability, and the route tree completely opens up. It's not just a go ball or a back shoulder fade. Now everything can be open at different points in time, which is, again, why I'm with you. And maybe not just the front 4. I think you throw Basaint and some of the linebackers in with how they play the run. I think you can still play it technically lighter in the box and find those wins and be okay. But when you start having to add Keontae Scott and guys to the box specifically against the run, that's when it's going to become an issue. So I'm with you, and I think that can happen. You go back to the teams that have had the best success against Miami running the football. Like Ole Miss had 121, but 70 was on one run play, 74? What was Lacey's touchdown run in that game? I mean, that was a long touchdown run, so that's a little bit clouded with how you're going to judge that. Virginia Tech had 37 for 194. Florida State had 38 for 132. You're then bringing into account some quarterback run, and that's going to depend on how you play things there with those two teams. So I don't know if I look at those two, Greg, and say, well, that's the path here. Syracuse 43 for 161, still under 4 yards per carry. The only team to average over 4 yards per carry, actually both went over 5 against Miami. That was Virginia Tech, 5.24, and then Ole Miss, 5.76. We talked about the Ole Miss. And honestly, the quarterback run options weren't really detrimental to Miami in that game. Now, some of that late, they weren't going to be able to lean on that because of where the game was, what they had to do. But I don't feel like there's really a blueprint here for how they run the football, and another team has had a ton of success doing it that way, G-Mac. Do you look at a team that did it against Miami and say, well, Indiana can open that door because of what they have on film with what this team did? And keep in mind, some really good rush teams, Notre Dame 28 for 93, Florida 29 for 80. So some teams that do it a little bit more like Indiana does it that weren't necessarily, I'm not even going to say dominant, weren't great with it against this rush group.
Like, who do you think's the team that is best that they've played this year running the football? I think Florida probably, right? Or do you see
Notre
it
Dame.
differently?
Probably Notre Dame.
But Notre Dame at that point, though, let's just remember, Notre Dame at that point, I believe Jeremiah Love had 10 carries in that game.
Also had some O-line injuries in the preseason again going into the season.
Correct.
So you didn't really know what you were up front in that game either. So, but holistically, the whole season, that's probably the best traditional run team they played. At the point in which they played them, maybe Florida. Yeah, probably go Florida there.
Probably Florida. I think probably Florida. I don't know. Like Florida, as far as like a mauling bunch can get after you, I think Florida is probably the best group they played running the football. But I don't even remember Florida having much success. Like the team that ran it best on them was Virginia Tech, and I watched that game in its entirety, and Virginia Tech hit them with like perimeter runs. It was like wide outside the tackle. They ended up going for 194. They averaged over 5 yards a carry. It was like all perimeter runs. And I don't know if you've watched that game, Cole, but it was almost strange. Like it's like they were kind of capturing the edge, and they kind of took Bain and Mesidor out of it because they ran around them and had some success. And frankly, the perimeter for Miami, and remember Keontae Scott was out for 5 or 6 games at that point. Like he didn't play against Virginia Tech. Now that he's in the ball game, you can't capture the edge. You can't run around Keontae Scott. Like he's too physical. So The only team I've seen have success running the ball against them was with wide perimeter runs, and that is not Indiana, not with their RPO. So I don't think anyone can run the ball on them right downhill. You got to capture around it and run around them, and I don't see Indiana as that type of team.
No, but what I do think Indiana does, it could be problematic. And you saw some of this again. If you go back and watch the first 2 series against Oregon, watch what they do at the tight end. And watch how they now some of this will also depend on how Miami plays it, because Oregon basically said, we're going to play you super light because we think we can win with our D-line. And they're like, okay, cool. You're going to do that. We'll bring a tight end in it, and then we'll insert him, and then we'll arc him. And then we know you got a safety playing down on him, so we'll use him a little 5-yard out and pick up first down yardage. And then we'll confuse him by bringing him in to go up and block the safety again. So they did a nice job motioning the guys in and out and how they were going to play against the numbers. This somewhat goes against how Miami's going to play it. We don't know that, how they're going to try to play it from a numbers game perspective. But one thing I love that they do is how they work some of the inserts, and then they'll use some of the gap and trap stuff, and they'll block down against you. So then they came back later. They used the tight end and the receivers to kind of block down on some of those edge defenders and different guys that were added to the box, so they can hit you off tackle in different ways, which is what I think they have to do. And keep in mind, I'm not going to say this like I said this about a couple of other quarterbacks in this playoff, but I do think the legs of Fernando Mendoza could be important in this game, because he can keep one every now and then and be more like he's more than a Jared Stidham could. And Stidham would keep one like every 3 series and just have like the C's would part for 8 or 9 yards. And you're like, goodness, if that's Nick Marshall, that's 80 yards. But it's fine. You keep him honest. I think you'll see a tight end block down, like maybe he'll be out in the slot, and maybe he blocks down on one of these defensive ends every now and then. Maybe a receiver takes a shot at him in motion every now and then. You'll get a lot of split zone early in this game because they try to influence them to either crash it and play it hard or play it soft. They'll see how they're playing it then, and they'll determine some of the run game there. I think they tinker with these guys a bunch, like a block down. You'll see a split zone. Then they'll insert the tight end up if they're adding an extra defender. They'll try to confuse, I think, the defensive ends, the edge defenders, and the linebackers to be in different spots. And if there's one concern I have with Miami's group, mainly the front 7, which is not usually 7 because they don't have to be, but that front, including the linebackers, Greg, they will jump plays. They will jump gap. They'll be over aggressive at times. And that's where I think some of the I'm not talking like duo, direct inside zone, but some of the off tackle stuff that ends up in between the tackles, that's where I think Indiana can find some space. Because if Miami doesn't play it straight up, which at times they don't, that's where I think Indiana could find a way to get the run game going a little bit more.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too. The run game doesn't have to be great. Like that, I think we have evolved now, and I agree with you on Mendoza running it. Like, I think he's very, very decent in the run game. I don't think he's a game changer running the football. I don't think he needs to be. That's not really
super
who he is.
Underrated. No one gives him any credit.
Very
for his legs.
underrated. No, I mean, dude, on the run that he had on 3rd and 8 against Oregon, I looked it up because I was just curious, like, how fast he got there. He hit he hit 18 miles an hour on that run. I mean, that's cooking for a guy at 225. Like, and it was not like it was like open field. Like, anybody can get to 18 miles an hour in the open field. This is like running around a defensive tackle and like somehow getting there. He was pretty sporty. And that was against edge pressure, by the way, which is you're going to see a lot of tonight with Keontae Scott off the edge. So all that is very, very real. The other thing I would say with his mobility is he's got a real knack for how far he has to go. If it's 3rd and 3, he'll get the 4, dive forward, and call it a day. Like, he's not trying to like split safeties or anything. Like, like he's not gonna take the hit. He's not gonna put himself in harm's way. He's gonna get exactly what he needs to get to that point and extend the drive. I think the way that we should evaluate quality run games nowadays, unless your quarterback is a runner, and I have had this conversation with 15 different coaches this year, we need to evaluate and reassess what a quality run game is. We've applied this logic to Alabama. Unless your quarterback is a heavy part of what you do running the football, a really solid rushing game is 120 to 150 yards. You go over 120, you should feel great about it. It's changed. Because all these teams that are top 10, top 15 in the run game, a lot of times they feature quarterback run, where you have hat on a hat and you have an extra half hat because the quarterback's running the ball. So, and they're not going to do a lot of design. Now he'll pull one every once in a while on his own read. Yeah, he'll do that 3 or 4 times a game potentially, but he's not a guy that they're going to feature with quarterback sweep, pin pull. So I think it's going to be really interesting. If they can get to 120 to 150 yards running the ball tonight in a traditional sense, I think they should feel great about it. Now, that of course means if you hit a 70-yarder out of the gate, that skews the percentages. But how do you view a quote successful run game nowadays?
And that's good. Sometimes depends on game. Obviously depends a lot on opponent. We can go into the specifics of this game a little bit later, but I think I'm with you because there are a lot of times that we'll look at teams and say, man, they were great on the ground today. I mean, it's almost like the Seattle game that I mentioned over the weekend, and you look up, it's like 133. I felt like it was 280. Yeah, you're knocking on the door of 150, and I think that's enough. And the reality is because of everything else that opens up, and also extensions through the run game through the air. So if you run for 150, I would imagine you probably have another 18 to 28, 35 of quick throws to backs receivers that ended up as run plays. So because if that's all working, then you know that stuff's working too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it doesn't have to be 225 anymore, man. Like it's just because the run game opens so much more up with what's already there in the quick game that some are just extensions of the run game that you're going to be able to find a lot of what you need offensively if that's the way it's going. It may actually be more specifically broken down in yards per carry, Greg. And it's like if you're over 3.5 yards per carry, like you're probably doing enough damage to be able to find a way to win the game. I mean, unless you're just giving up explosive left and right, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But take out the sacks. I think if you remove sacks and you're averaging 4.5 to 5, you got to feel great about your run game.
You're dominating if that's the case. You
feel great about it. This is not like we had this conversation 15 times this year for Bama. Bama can't run the ball. They're ranked 126th in college football running the football. All that is totally fair. They did not have a quarterback run threat. Like all these teams that are up there, top 10, top 15, top 20 in the country when it comes to rushing output numbers, all of them, for the most part, have a quarterback that's dynamic with his legs. So unless you have that, and you might, maybe some teams do, maybe some teams don't. Unless you have that, then you're not going to be more than likely a top 10, top 15 run team. You're not. That's what's amazing about Miami in the postseason. They do not have quarterback run threat, and yet they've gone for 170 plus against A&M. They went for $150 against Ohio State. They go for another big number against Ole Miss. Like they're running the ball in a quote traditional way. So I think that's the big key now is if quarterback can run, sure, different ball game. That's not the case. So for Indiana today, if they go for over 130 on the ground, you feel really good about it.
Also, think about what you just said. Miami, not a quarterback run team. Where did one of their massive third down conversions come against Ohio State? When Carson Beck put his shoulder down, tried to run the dude over, and then the big touchdown yards against Ole Miss. Obviously, Carson Beck into the end zone. So even then, you have a guy who understands at times get out of the pocket, go make something happen, or keep a zone read every now and then and go pick up 6-8 yards just to make the defense pay or respect it a certain way. We'll continue talking national championship game tonight. A lot more to break down, a lot more to get into. More on the Miami offense, maybe what they need to be next right here on Jocks. Some breaking news as we come back. Bills have fired Sean McDermott. 8-8 in the playoffs, 98-50 in the regular season. I think based on Greg's comments earlier, he would have suggested you fire the quarterback.
Too much money, man.
Fair.
Paid him too much.
Quarterback has earned way more goodwill. He's fine. He doesn't need to be fired. Let's not get carried away here, but it was going to be hard for them to win with him playing that poorly. That's just.
But you look at it, Greg, you think, okay, if this is a not being able to advance situation, if this is a Patrick Mahomes and you're hitting Brady in the AFC title game every time and it's not working out, you're kind of like, we can wait that out. We're close enough that we're good. The way this has gone for Buffalo, it's not overly surprising, is it, that you're making this move?
No, it's just because they're kind of stuck in. They're stuck. Like that's a bit of the problem. They're just stuck, and it's not that McDermott's not. McDermott's a great coach. I would be willing to bet there's 8 openings right now in the NFL.
Well, Damien's already said he thinks he's going to Nashville. That'll be done.
We got to get him.
No, that's
No, that would be best for him because you got to leave the Titans to be great. Look at Vrabel, look at A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry. Everyone leaves the Titans and gets better.
That's probably going to be Matt Nagy, so you can get used to that. And he'll be. I hope he'll do well. You can just go ahead and be prepared for that at some point.
Gotcha.
I like McDermott, but sometimes, dude, 9 years in the NFL is an eternity. I mean, that's a long time. You know what I mean? If you can't quite get over the hump, and you for whatever reason don't look great in the postseason on a few different occasions, and you give up a last-second field goal to lose the way they lost a couple years ago, like there's just, I understand why it's probably time for a fresh start. I get it. I totally get it. But immediately, because of that quarterback, you now become by far the most attractive job opening in the NFL.
Obviously, because of what you have at quarterback, I don't think people would push back on that. That's
top 3 guy. I mean, he's a dude, absolute dude. So people will be bending over backwards to try to get that job.
All right. The Bills will be moving on from Sean McDermott, and Sean McDermott will be looking for a new home. If he needs assistance getting his furniture to that home, Greg, who should he call?
It'll be Crocker Moving Services. They're a local company, so they can get to Buffalo, but they're local, and they're owned locally by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. Whether you need your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call us online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Service for your next move.
Miami has rushed for 150 plus in all of their college football playoff games. One thing to watch for Miami tonight, and it's something that you may have noticed has shown up a little bit more frequently, has been the pistol formation. 21 carries for 73 yards versus Ole Miss. 343 yards out of the pistol in the college football playoff. This is absolutely mind-blowing. Miami ran for 65 yards out of the pistol formation in the regular season.
Okay.
Not one game in the regular season.
All season long.
All of the regular season. So they found something here, GMAC. Now, bad news is Indiana's had time to see it. They understand it. They know it's going to be there, so it won't surprise them. I can't recall anything being this different for a team, an aspect of their group in the postseason of just being able to find a formation. LSU, pay attention. But being able to even things out with a downhill run game feels like it has made a massive difference for what Miami has been in the postseason.
Well, they kind of stumbled into it, too. That's what I like about it. The reason why they started going pistol heavy is because against Texas A&M and Mike Elko, they are a picture call defense, which means you get into your offense, your offensive formation, and they will call the defense off the picture. And oftentimes the linebackers will align based on where the running back is relative to the tight end. So the tight end is lined up a strong side to the right, and the running back's offset to the left. Their linebackers would switch, and then all of a sudden, if the tight end switches sides, and now they're on the same side, the linebackers would switch. So, and what you do when you get into the pistol, the linebackers don't get to dictate or line up because you're right behind. You're in a neutral position. You're not on the left or right of the quarterback's hip in the shotgun. You're in a neutral position, and the tight end can be left or right. They even ran a formation. They ran split zone on it, Cole. You can go back and look. It's a pretty cool little formation where the tight end literally aligned, almost looked like he was going to be going under center. The tight end was right in the middle of the formation. The back was in the pistol, and the quarterback was in his traditional spot. And then the linebackers for A&M were like, what the heck? Like, how do we line up? They're both neutral. So, and they quick motion him and then run split zone. So they kind of stumbled into it by taking advantage of a tendency from A&M. And I think they found something, and now they're like, hang on a second. I like what we're doing. Let's stick with this. And it's just kind of grown and built, and it's been really healthy. I love pistol. I will always love pistol. It's one of my favorite formations in football because you can still go heavy back to the defense play action. It gets the quarterback deep, so you're not away from the wash. So you do get to have all the good stuff that you have from under center, except you are already away from the rush by 4.5 yards. What's tough about pistol is that it sometimes takes a little longer to develop with the run game. But they have a really strong and powerful offensive line that doesn't get penetrated very often, so they're comfortable with it taking a little bit longer. I think it's just been a really, really smart move, and I think they're fortunate that they've stumbled into it the way they have, but man, they're now riding it, and it's been really helpful.
Why do you think the run game takes a little longer to develop out of the pistol?
Because he's just slightly deeper than he is in a traditional under center. Usually it's toes at 7 in traditional under center. I think in pistol, sometimes your toes at 8, quarterback's at 4.5, thereabouts. It depends. You can scoot them up, but you want a little bit of room so that you can use some of the ball handling. It can be just a little bit tougher. It's not an expensive formation, but it requires quite a bit of work. But if you're in traditional offset, it hits a lot faster. If you're in traditional offset, you're 3 yards closer to the line of scrimmage when the running back starts his track. And you lose the opportunity to read an end and to basically block a guy without blocking a guy when you go into the offset. You don't have that in pistol. You have to carry it with boot fakes and things like that. Like, you have to protect the backside with your quarterback. But he's not really a threat to run it. You can do it with other guys, motion, split zone. You can go kick that guy out with all the things that you want to do. But it just happens a little faster in offset. But I like pistol better than offset running the ball.
1,000 times.
Not a lot of people do. But
every day of the week. No, we don't pay attention to those people because they don't know what they're talking about.
But tell me this, Cole, like, you got to hold your block. You got to hold your block up front for an extra half second. Depending on who you're playing against, that's significant.
I disagree, though. I don't view it that way. I don't view. So let's take your two comparisons here. Offset, which we mean shotgun and the running back standing beside the quarterback. Pistol, yes. Shorter gun, shorter distance between center and quarterback for the snap, and then a back behind him. So when we say that evens things out, it means just off the look right away. Initially, we can run the ball either direction. Now, you want to put another back in the backfield out of shotgun and go 2 back there, we can talk about the run game being a little bit more even. Like a gun pro, then okay, cool. Like that's what it is. I don't view that it takes longer for me to hold my block because the runs that we are going to get out of pistol are ones that actually assist us in getting guys blocked. The front's probably going to be evened out a little bit more. They're not going to be able to tilt it as much as they do, which makes our blocks a little bit easier by nature because of alignment. 2, sometimes inside zone, let's just say, like duo will be a little bit more difficult, but also our emphasis is on double teams in duo. How many times do you see duo work, Greg, when they don't even get to the linebackers? Like, they block the linebackers with movement. or the backers are so confused as to which way it's going because it's so downhill.
Too much wash.
Yeah, they're jumping left and right, and they're just like, oh, God, those here. And it's like, nope, we're there. We're good. So those plays actually are assisted with the scheme to block individuals that sometimes aren't even blocked. And like inside zone, I want that to take a little extra time. Because if that nose is trying to play across my face, cool, I'm going to run you all the way to the sideline. And my back should be smart enough, hopefully, to be able to cut right behind that. Or you want to slow play it, I'll get you reached and I'll wall you off, and my back will see that and understand that that gap's going to be open. Same thing goes for the tackle, for the guard. That DN wants to play wide, and he wants to set a hard edge, but he's going to jump outside to do it. Great. My running back will cut right underneath him. Same thing with the guard.
Yeah.
The 3 technique wants to play wide. You ain't getting outside of me. Good. We'll cut right behind you. So I think the plays that come out of pistol actually favor us enough to where I wouldn't view it as we have to hold our blocks longer, therefore it makes the level of difficulty greater. I would look at it as the play design assists us enough to where those, if you want to call them longer blocks, actually are going to benefit us in the end because we're going to be able to make you wrong based on what we're running out of it. Now, totally different deal. We want to start talking running counter out of it, stretch out of it. That's okay, whatever. But I still think that the benefits that you get of a defense not being able to line up and say, hey, 80% chance we're getting this or this.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you're going to throw us a wrinkle 1 out of every 50 plays, and you're going to try to run some kind of counter out of this, or you're going to try to run same side toss sweep out of this. Good. All right. Because those are the ones that I look at based on your alignment that you're probably going to have trouble running. So we'll take our chances with those. So yeah, I'm with you. Anything that you can even up, and anytime that you can present more options, I'm for it as an offense. I don't care how long my block takes me, because the alignment and what the defense has to respect is going to give us more time to be able to operate with it. You can have your single back offset out of gun run plays. They're all terrible in my opinion.
I get it. You and I are on the same page.
Outside of obviously like zone read, but that's now we're talking about option plays. So I don't care about
zone
that.
Read, speed option out of offset are great. Like speed option. Y'all are gonna think I'm nuts here. Speed option is one of my favorite plays.
Huh?
Yes.
You better
you
better have some stones on your guy that's taking the snap to do it though. That's all I'm gonna say.
I ran speed option 15 times a game in high school. Like it's the absolute best play you can have.
He's right, Damian. So think about. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Greg. Think about Vanderbilt.
No, you're good.
Yeah. They don't live and die on it, but almost every time they chose to run that play is positive yards.
Yeah.
It's one
people
of my
don't see
plays.
it. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Greg. Take it.
It's one of my favorite plays, dude. It's an amazing play. Like I ran it all the time, dude. In high school, I think all you gotta do is like I think I had like 10 touchdowns on it. Like it was just freaking the best play ever. Like you can't stop it. If I attack the right shoulder of a guy and a quarterback has just a little bit of wiggle, you don't even have to be a burner. Just a little bit of wiggle. Like you can fake the pitch and like it's a great short yardage play. You mean I get it's great against the blitz. I mean you get answers all the time out of speed option. Like I think speed option is phenomenal, and it's naturally built in with your width between the quarterback and the running back and offset. So speed option's in every game plan of mine. If I'm an OC, speed option's in. And your quarterback will he take a couple shots? Yeah, he will. But guess what? Tighten up.
You better have that
take
guy.
A couple
though.
shots.
Yeah, you better have that guy. I mean,
it doesn't, dude. You know me. I was not the crazy fleet of foot. But if you have just a little bit of savvy, you can run speed option and not get destroyed. Like now, you can get as destroyed as you want to get, depending on how much you want that guy to commit. But if he commits and I get killed, my back's scoring. It's out. So speed option's great out of. Speed option zone read are great. Totally agree with that. Here's the other pushback, if you allow me to play devil's advocate for a moment. You cannot go traditional drop back protection out of pistol. You cannot do it. It can be done. It's possible, but it's very difficult. So out of pistol, you are essentially limited to bootlegs, play action passes, and guess what? Your favorite, full slide protection.
Oh, God.
That's about all you got. because my back cannot see around my big behind who's sitting 3 yards in front of him, unless you have Mark Fletcher. But guess what? I was 6 inches taller than Mark Ingram. He can't see the Mike linebacker out of pistol. Like he can't. If I'm dropping back, we're gonna clip heels.
Was this Trenton Holiday playing behind Jared Linson? Like what are we doing?
Dude, it's not easy for those guys to see the Mike linebacker standing behind a guy that's 4 inches, 5 inches taller than him in some cases. Like quarterbacks are big. They're not small. They're big. So it's harder for that guy to get around the quarterback, not mess up the quarterback's drop, and pick up a Mike linebacker that's blitzing through the A gap. It's hard to run. That's the reason why it's tough, because pistol it's great in the run game. It's phenomenal in the play action game. It's phenomenal in a million different reasons. I love pistol for those reasons. But as a traditional, when a team gets in pistol and I'm calling defense, Cole, you too, you call defense. If I see pistol, guess what I'm bringing? All right, Mike fire zone right up the middle. Because guess who's probably going to have the mic, depending on if they're a jet team, scat team, what have you. The back might have the linebacker. Whoever the back is responsible for in the protection of traditional jet, scat, man, duo, like scan protection, any of that stuff, the back is dead trying to block a linebacker. So your traditional drop back's dead. So you kind of are hamstrung. Yes, better in the run game, but you don't have the same balance out of pistol that you would out of offset gun. That's why people don't do it as much.
That's fair. All right, all great points. We'll continue the discussion on the other side. And one college football entity feels like it's time to release something that is a complete waste of your time. I'll tell you who that is and what it is next on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We will talk just a smidge of college basketball today. Richard Hendricks will be with us at 9:30 thanks to Pizza Pools. He joins us every Monday. I want to go a little bit further, though, quickly in this conversation about pistol. Not being able to see the mic, I get it. It's a problem. But, like, I have the mic linebacker in most protections, correct? Like that's where my responsibility starts.
No.
Can we not work around it that way?
Yeah, you can for sure. Like if we want to go with a man protection and do scan, we can't run scan out of pistol, because if the center has the Mike linebacker, the middle linebacker, and you block the 4 bigs, then that means the back is going to be scanning from Mike or from Will to Sam to strong safety or free safety. Anything outside. So I got 5 guys to block 5. You block the 4 down, you block the Mike, perfect, we're good there. But now my back, when he's on one side of me, he can easily get from Sam to Mike or from Sam to Will or Will to Sam, depending on what side he's on. If he's in pistol and he chooses one side, when all of a sudden the Sam comes on the other side, he's not going to have the momentum, nor will he have the ability to try to clip that guy that he's responsible for in protection. So that's why you got to go full slide, because then the back knows he only goes in one direction. So hey, you're sliding it. Hey, let's say I'm in pistol, and the offensive line is in rip protection, meaning you're sliding to the left, the running back's going to the right. So you guys are now sliding to the left. The back knows he's going to the right. He's got first edge presence outside the right tackle. That's the hard part about slide. Like I can't go with any type of declaration protection out of pistol, because the guy has to pick a side, and he might have responsibilities blocking both sides. That's the hard part. Okay.
But I do feel like you give you and I an off season, we can figure this out.
We can figure it out. Like I feel pretty good about it. I think you can go 7-man protection. Like, all right, sounds good. Hey, we'll bring the tight end in and use him as an H-back/fullback, and he's responsible for Sam. Offensive line has the Mike. Back is responsible for the Will, so he's going to the left. And like I said, in formation right protection, and we just say we run Act 4 protection, which is no problem. Back will have Will, line will have Mike, and the 4 down, tight end and or H-back/fullback will have Sam. You're covered, and then you adjust off of it. Any external presence to the outside, you got strong safety. That's where it becomes dicey too. Now the quarterback has the safeties if they decide to bring 2, which you might in a 7-man protection. You could get Sam strong safety and you're dead. You could get Will free safety, then you're dead. And the quarterback's throwing hot on what's probably a slow developing route. And that's the nightmare. like you got nothing there. So it does limit you, but it can be overcome. It can be overcome. It's just not easy.
Okay. We'll spend more time on this on the other side. Spend more time talking about the Miami offense and maybe what they have to do, generate to be able to find a win tonight against Indiana next right here on Jocks. We will update you on the transfer portal next hour. Man, already almost 2 hours down here on the show today. Wild to think about when you dive into football, how quickly it goes. Richard Hendricks next hour, talk Alabama, Auburn basketball, SEC hoops as well. He's with us every week thanks to Pizza Pulls. A lot more to get to just around this game and what we think about it, how we want to discuss it. You'll have to wait to hear some of the in-detail conversations. But, Greg, one thing you never have to wait for is your dental care.
That's because Family Care Dental has you taken care of. They're the urgent care office. You can be seen the same day in several locations to make it easy on you. Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Trustful. Just go and see them. And now it's beautiful to know that your routine appointment comes with free teeth whitening. So give them a call today at Family Care Dental, 874-9605. That's 874-9605.
All right, so Miami offensively, when we look at some of the keys, you mentioned earlier, probably not going to see some of the Wildcat stuff that we've seen. Maybe don't go that tricky. We know Mark Fletcher is going to be huge. We know what he means to the offense. We know Carson Beck.
You're not anticipating Wildcat, are you? Like I don't think they'll do it. They just haven't really done it very well this offseason.
No, but
do you think they'll do it?
I think you might see it once or twice just because you want Malachi Tony to touch the ball. I mean, just
of course.
He has to. But I have a legitimate package that we're seeing it, every other series, something like that. No, I don't think so because you're right. It hasn't been great, and it's also been a little high risk at times. I mean, there have been some decisions made out of that you're like, oh, hold on a second. Like, I don't know if that's what we're looking for here. They're not going to get too far away from themselves. I think you'll see one or two things that it'll be blatantly obvious they've been saving them up and that they've had it in, and this is the perfect opportunity that'll present itself. I don't know when that'll be, early, late, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 4, 4th down conversions. I mean, that's one thing Miami has not been afraid to do in this playoffs, Greg, is go for it on 4th down, and they've been pretty good with it. So, and then all this too is dictated, like we said earlier, like the downhill run game. How well is it going? I mean, you might not have to do a lot of other things if that part of your game is dominant.
Yeah. Now, I think the downhill run game is massive. I mean, absolutely massive in this game. And if Miami can establish it, if Miami possesses the ball for 35 minutes in this game and doesn't make a mistake, doesn't turn it over, I really like their chances. But it all starts by running the football.
Keep this in mind. We mentioned early drives. Just remember who scores first. And if you want to maybe do something after that in this game, you go do what you got to do. But teams that score first in this playoff are 9-1. The one was the first playoff game when Alabama came back from 17-0 against Oklahoma on Friday night. So 9 straight wins in this playoff by teams that have scored first. So does that mean you take the ball? Miami has done it in this playoff too. They've shown, hey, we want to take the ball, set the tone early. Maybe they do it again tonight if they win the toss. Back with more next.